Hi, and welcome to another episode of Crossing Borders. Today with us, we have Pierre with STid.
Hi, Stephanie. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for joining. So, not everyone in the US and most people in Europe know your company, but can you give introduction of your company and your role? And I see you've been there, over 23 years now.
Yes, yes, indeed. Well, thank you for inviting me first. Yes, STid is a French company, a privately held company, who has been doing RFID equipment for access control and industry traceability applications since 1996, as you stated it. I've been in the company for more than 23 years now. I started as the first person to sell the product, and now I'm overseeing most of the business development around the globe of the company. We are 70 employees now, with location in the US, in the UK, in Mexico, and obviously in France, where we started.
Great. So you talked about that of course, you're located in the south of France. You and I have met up at many trade shows in France and throughout Europe. And with crossing borders, what we want to talk about is crossing borders, which means doing work in the US. So how long has STid been doing business in the US, in Canada?
We have started, we have tried to do business in the US since maybe 5 years. And for 2 years, we hoped we could do business from France and sell to partners in the US out of France. It turned out it's not possible. It does not work. People in the US, and we understand that perfectly, people in the US want their partners, their suppliers to be local for time zones, proximity, communication. And so after 2 years of trying with trade shows and travels and whatever you can imagine, we decided to create a base over there. So we created STid North America. We are based in Irving, Texas. And now we have an office over there with the full logistic capacity to provide our products to the US market.
How do you go to market? Do you sell direct to OEMs? Do you sell to system integrators?
Yes, our first route to market is the OEMs. And in parallel to that, if we speak about the US in particular, the distribution is pretty strong in the US because the country is quite big. And so we are relying on some distribution partners also to make our product available locally and quickly. And otherwise, these are mostly OEMs and some system integrators, but mostly OEMs.
And so OEMs take your products and they integrate them into their solutions.
Yes, and we are an equipment manufacturer. Access control readers can be a very complex product, very nice ones, but this is something that does not work alone. It has to be connected to a system. So selling them completely alone doesn't really make sense. We prefer them to be supported, promoted, but within a solution. It's not just a reader that you connect and forget about it. There is more and more integration with protocols, specific features, connection with mobile platforms. So the involvement of the OEM is much bigger than it was in the past.
So are majority of your OEMs European? Are they US based, or is it kind of more of a combination now?
Well, most of our OEM partners are from Europe because of our history and the recent times in the US, but we have a few OEM partners that are global now. We work with Genetec, we work with Honeywell, we work with, I can quote more, that you can edit.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
we work with Genetec or Honeywell, for example. Our readers are compatible with any OEM systems. We are trying to find new partners in the US. We are teaming up now with Galaxy System, for example. They are integrating our product lines, our architect readers, for some of their unique features and customization capacity. So that's an example of the OEMs we work with.
So when you took your products to the US, let's talk about the product side more than the business side. In the US, if you're not UL certified, you typically are not going to be accepted by most people. So before you decided to try to do business in the US, did you look at certifications and getting all the certifications before you even attempted to go?
Oh yes, yes. Every market has some protection measures or specifics. Okay, we could say the U.S. has some regulations regarding radio frequency emissions, so we have to be FCC compliant, UL compliant, and all the basic requirements of the market. So we had all our products recertified, or retested for the US market. Well, it takes a lot of time and money, but the good news is that the technical specifications are very close to the CE certifications. So technically speaking, our products are perfectly compliant, but we have to go through the process, and that's a lot of time and money.
It can be, no matter where you are in the world, there's some certification that are
Yes.
specific to different regions and countries. And like you said, it's not impossible. It's just, it costs money and time to get it there. So when you decided to go to the US, you said that you tried for a couple of years of not having someone there. Can you tell me about those challenges, kind of give insight to people that, you know, people ask me all the time, we want to go to the US. How do we do that? And I think the story you're about to tell is going to be insightful for these people.
Maybe. Well, as I said, the language is a barrier. Even if you speak average English, people expect you to speak exactly the same language as they, and also a matter of culture. When you create business relationships, I remember a few things when we were having customer meetings and all the people were talking about the latest football game of the week, and I was completely out of the equation of there, you know, and this is something that doesn't help you create bonds with customers and partners. And so that's why that's one of the reasons not the only one, but one of the reasons we decided to hire some American people over there to really have a good level of understanding and communication, basically.
Yeah, and Texas is the perfect state to pick for football country, that's for sure.
That was one example, but yeah.
Exactly. So what other challenges do you see? You know, being a French company, do people look at they want American made, or do they look more at the technology? I know that STid is advanced with some of your cyber and, you know, security that you have with your products.
Yes, the brand awareness, the brand name was unknown, so we had to invest in some marketing efforts and time. Time is the essence here, and having people running all over the place to have the name known and understood. So that's the first thing. You have to create the background for the brand. Then the fact that we are not American, yes, sometimes you feel something, but the European technology has a pretty good reputation, and we can make our point and we can demonstrate. We have been doing readers for 24 years. There are not many companies that have this experience, and we have a very strong market base in Europe and in the Middle East and in the rest of the world. So we can easily demonstrate that we are highly capable. So that's not the problem. But as we discussed sometimes in the past, we have found that in the US, people are very conservative about their existing solutions and very reluctant to change. Uh, when they have something that works, even if it's outdated, even if it's security-wise, it's very bad, we struggle to convince them to change their habits. And so that's what we found. So we have to really spend a lot of time in explaining the context, explaining the technology. American people, they are efficient. They look for efficiency. So they want something that works straight out of the box without any complexity. And this is perfectly understandable. And this is very different from the European way of doing things. So we are making extremely complex products because we have a lot of things to explain, and people are used to that. So we have to simplify our way of communication. We have to simplify our products in order to, well, it's just a matter of adapting them to the market. We are providing the same product as in Europe, of course, but we are not presenting them the same way.
So when you're doing the education market in the US, are you targeting system integrators? Because as we all know, and any system integrators out there listening, it's not a bash, but getting system integrators to change what they've always done. So if they're using a different product, getting them to use something new, even if it is better, it's a huge challenge. So do you spend a lot of time educating system integrators?
Yeah, well, we try to work at different levels. You have the OEMs and the system integrators and the end user and the consultants. End users and consultants, we are really going to spend time on the technology with them to explain them the value of new security, of encryption, of some of the really user benefits. With system integrators and OEMs or distribution, um, they are more business oriented. And so we are transforming features into business opportunities. So providing new security or upgrades or updates or modularity of the products is a business of opportunity for a partner. You sell a product one day and you have an upgrade, so you can go 6 months after the first time you sold something to your customer, and you can make a second sale, a third sale. So it's more business oriented than technology oriented.
I think that's a great plan to do it that way. And like you said, you're taking a different approach between the different groups and how you bring them in and educate them because it's a different value proposition for each one of them.
Yes, exactly. And that's how our products are designed. It's you can find value at every stage of the market. Not the same, but everybody is finding something useful or valuable within our product range.
What about servicing in the US? What are the challenges you've seen there? You said that you tried to do everything from France initially. So I assume that that was part of the challenge you had to meet to be
Yeah.
successful.
Yes, the level of service is much higher in the US. Well, the expectation of the customers is much higher in the US than in Europe, which is very inspiring for us because we have to raise the bar and raise our standards. And that's why also we had to set up some operations in the US in order to provide this proximity in terms of also service, pre-sales and after sale. And in terms of training, in terms of support, in terms of anything you can expect around the product has to be quick, immediate, efficient, local.
I think that's very true. Service expectations are much higher in the US than they are in Europe, hands
Yeah,
down.
and of course there is competition in the market, and we have competitors, and so we can differentiate on the product, but we also need to differentiate on the service. And that's an area where we invest a lot because we feel it's as important as the product in terms of decision-making process for the customer is not only to choose the product and the price, but to think about all the service you will get with that.
Right, it's the whole package that
Yes.
you're selling. It's the company, it's everything. People
Yes.
don't want to buy a product that's going to be obsolete. They don't want a product that can't be supported.
Yeah. A specific of our product range is that there is a lot of customization options, a lot. So if you leave the customer alone with that, he can get lost and he will not benefit from all the possibilities. So that's why we offer a lot of service training, presentation, demonstration, samples to the customer so that they can use the product to their full extent and benefit from all the services that we provide. Reader customization, colors, logo, programming, and this is absolutely mandatory in the US to be successful.
It sounds like you've at least got a proper plan in place to be able to support the US, okay,
Yes.
because it is about the whole package. Are there any other challenges, perceptions, insights that you'd like to share?
Probably many, but I don't know if we have time. No, the US is a fantastic challenge. It's a huge country, so I think we often also undermine the size of the country and all the challenges you have managing different time zones, very long distance between customers and the base. And so it's a different organization, different way of working. But other than that, no, it's great. It's absolutely great.
Well, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for so much for sharing all of your insights
Thank
with
you,
everyone.
Stephanie. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.